Manchester United supporters have endured a season filled with uncertainty, pressure, criticism, and moments of doubt, but everything suddenly feels different after the massive victory over Everton, a win that may ultimately go down as the night when Manchester United's Champions League dream was pulled back from the brink and given new life. Because for weeks, the conversation surrounding the club had been dominated by questions about consistency, tactical identity, and whether this squad truly had the mentality required to secure a place among the Premier League's top teams. Yet football has always been a sport where momentum can shift in a single game, and that is exactly what happened when United stepped onto the pitch against Everton, knowing that the stakes could not possibly be higher. Because the race for Champions League qualification has been tighter than ever, with multiple clubs fighting for a limited number of spots, every match becoming a must-win battle, and every dropped point potentially damaging the hopes of playing European football at the highest level next season. And Manchester United entered the match fully aware that anything less than victory would make the road ahead incredibly difficult, especially with rivals continuing to pick up crucial points. But what fans witnessed from the first whistle against Everton was a Manchester United side that looked determined to fight for their season, a team that understood the importance of the moment and responded with intensity, aggression, and focus that had sometimes been missing earlier in the campaign. The players pressed higher up the pitch, the midfield moved the ball quickly to open spaces, and the attacking players constantly looked for opportunities to break through Everton's defensive lines, creating an atmosphere inside the stadium that immediately felt electric because supporters could sense that the team was playing with urgency and belief, something that had been desperately needed during the tense weeks leading up to this crucial fixture of the game, as United began dominating possession and forcing Everton to defend deeper than they would have liked, continuous pressure on their backline. And as the minutes passed, the confidence within the Manchester United players continued to grow as they realized that their strategy was working, that Everton were struggling to cope with the pace and movement of United's attacking play, and that the breakthrough goal was only a matter of time if they maintained the same level of concentration and creativity. And when that moment finally arrived, it felt like a release of weeks of frustration, not only for the players, but also for the fans who had been waiting for a performance that truly reflected the potential of this squad. Because Manchester United is a club built on big moments and dramatic victories, a club whose history is filled with nights when everything seemed possible once the team found its rhythm. And this match against Everton carried that same feeling of renewed belief as the goal ignited the stadium and gave the players an even greater sense of confidence moving forward. Yet what made this performance particularly impressive was not just the attacking intent, but also the discipline shown across the entire team, as United remained organized defensively while continuing to look dangerous going forward, ensuring that Everton struggled to respond effectively despite their attempts to push forward in search of an equalizer. Because the reality of the Premier League is that no victory comes easily, and even teams fighting in different parts of the table can cause serious problems if given the chance, which is why Manchester United's ability to maintain focus and control after taking the lead was such a positive sign for supporters who have sometimes worried about the team's ability to manage games under pressure. But on this night, the players seemed fully aware of the importance of protecting their advantage while continuing to push for additional goals that could secure the result beyond doubt. And that balanced approach kept Everton on the back foot for much of the match, as United's midfield continued to dictate the tempo with smart passing and intelligent positioning, allowing the team to control the flow of the game while minimizing the risk of dangerous counterattacks. And as the second half unfolded, the intensity inside the stadium only grew stronger, because fans could sense that this was more than just another league game. This was a turning point moment where the narrative of Manchester United's season could either collapse or be revived in spectacular fashion. And as the players continued to battle for every ball and chase every opportunity, the connection between the team and the supporters became increasingly powerful, creating the kind of atmosphere that has historically made world football a place where belief can grow rapidly and where opponents often struggle to handle. They maintained their relentless approach throughout the match, demonstrating a level of determination that suggested they were fully committed to keeping the Champions League dream alive, no matter how difficult the remaining weeks of the season might become. Because the reality facing Manchester United before this game was simple yet brutal. Failure to win would likely have pushed the club further away from the top four and allowed rivals to strengthen their position in the race for European qualification. But victory would not only bring 3 precious points, but also restore confidence, belief, and momentum at a crucial stage of the campaign. And as the match progressed, it became increasingly clear that United were determined to seize that opportunity with both hands, refusing to allow Everton any clear path back into the contest, while continuing to threaten in attack whenever space appeared. And that combination of defensive discipline and attacking ambition created a performance that many fans had been hoping to see throughout the season. A performance that showed what this squad is capable of when everything clicks together and when the players approach the game with the right mindset and collective energy. And as the clock began ticking toward the final whistle, the tension inside the stadium slowly transformed into anticipation, because supporters could feel that their team was on the verge of securing one of the most important victories of the season, a win that would not just impact the league table, but also send a powerful message to the rest of the Premier League that Manchester United are still fighting for a place among the elite. And when the final whistle eventually arrived, the reaction from players and fans alike captured exactly how significant this result was truly, because it represented hope returning to a season that had sometimes felt uncertain and fragile. Hope that the Champions League nights that define the club's history might soon return once again. And for Manchester United, those Champions League nights are not just about football matches, but about identity and legacy, about continuing a tradition that has seen the club compete against the best teams in Europe for decades, while producing unforgettable moments that remain etched in the memories of supporters across the world, which is why qualification for the competition carries such emotional and financial importance for the club as it looks to strengthen its squad, attract top talent, and re-establish itself as a dominant force in both English and European. Would ultimately become the catalyst for that resurgence if United can build upon the confidence gained from this through isolated moments, but rather through sustained effort, resilience, and belief across an entire campaign. And while there are still challenges ahead, with tough opponents waiting and the margin for error becoming smaller with each passing week, the most important outcome of this match may be the psychological boost it has given the players and supporters alike, reminding everyone connected with the club that the dream is not over, that the fight for Champions League qualification is still alive,